Hey, welcome back to another episode of This Week at Skye. This week, I have a special guest, Trent, our head of advice. How you doing, Trent?
Very well. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming. Good to have you stand in while Phil's busy, maybe hopefully not breaking a leg or arm on the slopes.
He might have a couple of good stories by next week about how he's claiming on his insurance because he's broken his leg.
We'll see what happens. What have you had going on this week, Trent?
This week I've been working on our self-employed fact find. So when you're self-employed, there's a few extra details we need to be able to see if you can get insurances, whether that's income protection, lump sums or anything around that. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible for our clients to collect that and get their accountants involved. Often you'll see clients will have multiple different trusts within their business and really have no idea how it works. So getting their accountant involved so they can give us the nuances is what we're trying to get done at the moment.
That'll be a big help. I think a lot of people, struggle to get that information together. They're going to their accountant anyway, so why not build that relationship with the accountant anyway and get them involved?
Yeah, and if we can get their contact details, they're one call away to clarify anything rather than us picking up a document and going, what is going on here?
Yeah, definitely. And then the tax rebate.
Tax rebates should all now be on all our invoices. So anyone that pays an initial fee now should be able to have the tax rebate written there. If you've paid a fee in the last 12, 18 months though, you can still claim that when you're doing your tax. Reach out to us if you haven't seen our emails, but we'll be able to give you the breakdown on that.
Yeah, that'll be good. I think the interesting thing there is that you can claim that rebate as far back as you want to, but to open up that tax again and get it all sorted, probably not worth it for most people.
If you're your own tax accountant and you are a tax accountant, it might be easy for you to do, but if you're going back and speaking to your account, they probably charge you just as much as what you're going to rebate, so it might not be worth it.
100%, but helpful for all the people going forward.
Very much so.
Yeah. This week I had my casual chit-chat with Phil. Surely you'll have one too. Phil's decided after going to MDRT that he wants to have a chat with everyone in the business, just casually, maybe twice a year I think was his goal, just to find out how people are going with relation to any processes, if their day-to-day tasks, how that's all going, if there's anything that needs to be changing, grievances. Which is a really unique thing for a business owner to be doing, to be wanting to spend that one-on-one time with everyone in the business, make sure he's getting to hear how the processes feel all throughout the company. Came into the office for mine, went for a walk just around the oval down there and got to share how I think the processes are going, which was also nice to hear how the changes that are in place for some of the problems that I raised.
Yeah, so he's got through the A's, I think. So you being the A's, I'm down the T's, so nearly dead last. And as we get more people in the team, we'll probably keep it extended out. So I might not get my chance.
Maybe December.
Maybe December.
See what happens. And then we have a morning huddle every Monday morning where it's an opportunity for us as a company, because we're remote, we jump into what are they called, breakout rooms, have a chat with 1 to 4 people, seems to change each week, find out how someone's weekend went, similar to if you're in an office, that water cooler chat that you miss out on because we're remote. And then we have a workshop normally in these Mondays. We had NEOS come along last week and they ran us through some of their products. That was, nice and interesting.
Yeah, good few updates from them. I actually got put in a breakout room with just myself. So I don't know what that means, that they just don't want me to talking to people. But
that's so weird. I noticed Poddy's breakout room this morning had 4 people in it. For me, it was just me and Ram. So I don't know how it works. Very random.
I've had to run it a few times and click a couple of buttons and watch the magic happen. But sometimes
magic
it works,
didn't happen for you.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
There you go. So I have a few articles to discuss this week. To start off with, looking at Shield, where they're caught up in the CSLR situation that we've been chatting about the last couple of weeks with Phil. What's happened here is they have some advertising. People are quite aware that they should be looking at how their super fund is performing. It's going to affect their retirement into the future. So people know that if it's not performing very well, but often you get stuck with going, okay, it's not great. What do I do? There's some advertising that comes along and looks really good and shiny, like this super fund's going to be able to perform really well for you. You click on the link, then they get permission to call you. Apparently with this situation, they are calling non-stop. So a lot of people are feeling pressured. Okay, going to get them to stop calling. May as well go ahead with this. People have been going ahead. They then receive the statement of advice because they're receiving advice, but not being able to have much communication with any financial advisor. This situation had been going on for a few years and has just sort of come to light because the performance has been no good. The company's gone into liquidation, and so now everyone's super funds have been frozen. Do you want to chat more about that?
Yeah, so these people are getting financial advice from a financial advice firm, but from outside looking in, it looks like it is very much cookie cutter advice where it's let's get the clients in, tell them that their super fund is underperforming, and then they've got an investment company or investment fund that is investing in unlisted property. However they're doing it, whether it's self-managed super funds or they've had the investment fund listed on and able to be invested via a super fund, everyone's then getting their money pushed into that, whether that's some of their money or all of it is getting pushed into that fund. And now the gravy train has come to an end. There's been some allegations and some rumours that the manager of the fund has actually bought a home for his wife at about $2 million with people's money. There was Floyd Mayweather fight tickets that was bought a trip to Vegas. So that's all the allegations that are getting risen. I don't know if it's been included in CSLR yet, but
not yet.
That's all the advisors are looking at and going, should I be paying for this investment fund's mishaps when it's clearly, if it's proven, it's clearly negligent, defrauding investors, exactly what we don't want in the industry.
Yeah, it's not the same sort of situation where you absolutely do want to be supporting people that have received bad financial advice, but this feels like it goes a bit more beyond bad financial advice and just into fraud.
Yeah, there was one of their big projects, I think it was up in Queensland. They had about 70% of the money that had been assigned to this project had already been drawn down on, and there hasn't even been a concrete slab laid. So
wow.
There was that was one of the articles I was reading about it. So there's, a lot of money gone. Don't know where exactly it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm no builder, I'm no project manager, but I would have thought 70% of the money spent already and there's not anything to show for it isn't going to be a great outcome.
It's really interesting you mentioned that. My sort of exposure to building is a few friends using the government grants for first home owners, first home builders. And one of my friends did build, and before she could receive any of that government funding, she had to have the slab down. So it is a known metric of having that slab down. So to be able to draw down all of those funds and not have anything to show for it's pretty shocking.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So the financial advice firm that was very, very closely linked to it is now closed. It was rolled into another one, and that one's also closed. So, I was going through their websites, and there wasn't much to find, apart from a couple of legal statements saying this is what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for the people that will have their super funds frozen. They've all come into this from a place of vulnerability, not feeling great about their current performance, and now, in a very dire situation. Yeah,
it's probably a lesson of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. Yeah, investing in companies that are notable, in super funds that are well managed and following the laws is probably where you want to be. Investing in crypto, unlisted properties, that's where it can be profitable, can be great, but it's the high risk, that added level of risk that's not just your investment risk now, it's the management risk as well.
Yeah, that's a very good lesson. If it sounds too good to be true, probably is.
Yeah.
The next article that we have is money management this week. So it's come to light that recently a supervisor has been banned for his the professional year candidate he was supervising was providing bad advice. So for a bit more context with the professional year, it's something that you have to go through if you want to be a qualified advisor. It's something that I've just completed with you as my supervisor. As part of that journey, I spent the last 6 months of it, so it's broken down into quarters. Quarter 3 and 4, you're allowed to give advice on your own, and it doesn't have to be supervised directly, but it still has to be checked. It still has Trent's name, or it still had Trent's name on it in my case. So if I were giving bad advice, it's coming back to bite Trent on the bum.
Exactly. In this case here, I would have been in the bin just like this guy.
Yeah.
If your advice was deemed
No
to be
good.
inappropriate.
Yeah, so what happened here is the manager of the company was supervising professional year candidate. They found that the advice was too cookie cutter, hadn't been changed, didn't look like the supervisor had really been doing their job. What went wrong?
What it looks like is that it was basically clients would come in and the clients would walk out with everything being exactly the same as the next person. Again, we're reading off an article, so we don't have the ins and outs, but it looked like that there wasn't much personalisation of the advice being taken into consideration, looking at their goals, their objectives. It was just take your money from this super fund, put it in the next, and possibly the same with insurances. That's probably the biggest case of cookie cutter advice, and typically where these sort of problems arise. Again, looking at an article, that's a good guesstimate, but that's likely what has happened.
One of the things that's mentioned in the article is that it was cookie cutter. Here at Skye, because we deal with such a high volume of clients, we do have a lot of processes and templates in place that could make it seem like we are just giving cookie cutter advice. How is what we do different?
Yeah, we look at things all the time and consider what are we doing? Is it cookie cutter or is it personalised advice? And what we'll still do is we'll take everyone's financial situation into consideration, their age, their occupation, their family situation. So there is a lot of personalisation. As far as you'll get the same advice no matter which advisor you speak to, because we'll be following the same process. That process is still tailored to your situation, whether you're working, not working, working part-time, have a mortgage, want to take out a mortgage, have children or want to have children. There's a lot of personalisation where it's not as you come in and we give you $1 million of life and TBD and say good luck, there's still that massive personalisation based off your process and
Definitely.
who you are.
And from all the work that I see that goes into the advice documents, from my own experience of doing it, there's a lot more than just copy-paste.
Yeah, just slightly a little bit more. So, yeah, even 2 years of age difference, if you've got the same income and the same the debts, the 2 years of age difference could be a massive difference in what you actually are recommended.
Absolutely. One of the other lines in the article was, under the Corporations Act, any advice provided by a provisional relevant provider, which was me a few months ago, provided to a retail client is taken to have been provided by their supervisor. That made me think of when you're on your Ls, if you speed or anything like that, then that goes on whoever's driving the car's license instead. Did you know that the penalty could be so severe?
Yeah, so it's something we would always take seriously because we know how severe the penalties can be. So at Skye, my name or whoever your supervisor is, and every advice document will have the professional year advisor's name and authorisation number, and then the supervisor's name and number on it. So anyone that is looking at the advice will know exactly who is giving the advice, which is basically the person who's supervising. So what we do is we actually audit or internally audit every file that we have from our professional advisors. And I'll do that every time the client will get an email saying, hey, book in an advice meeting, it's ready to go. I also get an email to check the advice off from the advisor. And between us, we'll figure out exactly if it's right, wrong, or if we need to make some adjustments. And basically, we've got a tick chart of what are the key areas that we're looking at. And it's up to me to make sure that it all gets done. And it fits the mould of personalised advice.
I think also in my email signature, it had your name on it at the time, and the advice document provides all of your contact details too, so that clients know that if they needed to, they could always contact you. But yeah, there's lots of checks and balances that go into place to make sure that if the advice initially isn't looking quite right for me, you're coming in and making sure it is going to be okay.
Yeah, and on that as well, we're making sure that you are ready to give advice when you are giving it and when you're sitting in front of clients. So yeah, some clients may look at it and go, professional advisor, I want to work with someone that's more experienced. To be honest, if I was a client, I'd probably want to work with a professional advisor.
I am so surprised, though, that not one person that I spoke to had a problem with me being in my professional year. I started most of my advice meetings by saying, oh, hey, I'm Ash, and Trent's listed here too because he's the supervisor while I complete the professional year. And they all went, Cool, brilliant.
Yeah.
Why would you want that?
I would want that because it's getting checked twice.
Yeah.
So you're checking it and you're doing everything, making it all good, and then I'm checking it to make sure that your work was all good. So if I was doing advice on my own, which I don't day to day, it's only one set of eyes and I might be seeing 5-10 clients a week. I could be potentially rushing things and missing things, but if there's 2 people checking over it, you wouldn't think that too many things are going to get through the gate.
Another thing that came up this week in Victoria, it's talking about potentially mandating 2 days can be worked from home. How do you think the supervising side of things goes when people are working remotely?
It will be very different, a little bit harder. I don't think if someone was to come and say, I want to work 2 days from home, if it's law, they're going to have to work 2 days from home. There's going to be no pushback from the employer. We prefer to have our junior staff or our people coming out of university working potentially their first job to be in the office more often. We find that they learn a lot more, learn a lot quicker, being able to turn around and just ask a question really quickly rather than having to schedule some time in Zoom and maybe not get the answers they need straight away. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, which way we go.
From the reading I was doing about this proposed legislation was that it's being discussed. It's likely that it will come into play, but they're just working out the nuance of it. So those smaller things like who will apply to. I'm really interested to see if they do take into consideration people that are fresh out of uni, because I know from my experience, my first job, the first 9 months was in person and then COVID happened, but my growth was so much quicker compared to when I was in person compared to when I was from home. So, be interesting to see if they take that into consideration.
Yeah, less about making people come to the office, but more about, how much more can you learn while being here? So many benefits of working from home, I understand that, but for some people and some stages of career, it's probably better for you to come to the office more often.
One of the benefits of working from home is that I can do my baking from home if I need to.
And we're not allowed to say that we reap the benefits, but we do reap the benefits.
Yes. Now it's time to go to Ash's Baking Corner.
What will it be this week, oh my? Will it make us laugh or make us cry? Skye team's ready, forks in hand. Ash's baking.
So this week we have...
We have something else. I need to put on my thinking hat, my judging hat. I feel like I'm at a country show, about to judge the best baked goods.
See if I can get a blue ribbon.
Let's see how we go. So what do we have this week, Ash? I'll reveal.
We have vanilla horns, which look a bit like, what's it called, horseshoes with your country hat.
Yep, I'm going to hold up the horseshoe the right way so we don't lose any luck.
There's actually the wrong way because the other side has the icing sugar.
Sorry, I'll turn it around for the camera. I'm going to hold it up that way.
Yeah, that's better.
All right, for luck.
These are basically shortbread that's been rolled out and then curved so that it looks like a horn. Yep.
Tasting notes of shortbread, delicious.
And I hope a bucket load of icing sugar.
A lot of icing sugar.
Yep.
So. Bit chewy, as you can see. Shortbread, not usually my go. Delicious. Probably need another coffee with it.
Shortbread is very much have with coffee sort of biscuit for sure.
I'm certainly probably not spending the time baking it and I'm not buying it, but if someone serves me up one, I'm saying yes every time. Now, I'm a pretty harsh critic.
Let's go. Phil gave me a 4 a couple weeks ago, so that's the level of harshness that can be dished out.
Probably need to watch back the Anzac Bicky one. I gave a pretty harsh rating there. So I think a shortbread maxes out maybe like a 7. It's a pretty good shortbread.
That's high.
Yeah, maxes out. I'm probably going to give
Where's
you a
this
5. Like, it's a pretty stock shortbread. Pretty tasty. Not my first choice, but I'll be very happy to have a couple later today.
Stunning. Thanks, Trent.
No worries. I might have one again now.
Ash's baking takes the stand.
Ash, what's going on with our client stories this week? Anyone interesting coming through?
Had an interesting initial phone call. So here at Skye, if a client wants to maybe get some advice from us, we start with them having an initial call where they'll get to chat to an advisor and we'll just run them through what our process is, costs, and then what the next steps from there would look like. The client I spoke to this week is anticipating a potential multiple sclerosis diagnosis in the next coming weeks and was really hoping that she could get her cover set up before that happened. I think it's a common misconception that you need to have a diagnosis before it's going to affect your ability to get any sort of insurance. Whereas in actual fact, the insurers are asking questions about symptoms you've been experiencing, doctor's appointments you've been having. So whilst it's possible you may not have a formal diagnosis yet, if you've still been experiencing those symptoms, it's likely to affect your ability to get cover. So not an easy phone call, but yeah, interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, the most hated thing from an insurance front is pending medical or unknown medical diagnosis.
Yes.
Sometimes it's actually better to have the diagnosis. Well, it actually is better to have the diagnosis so the insurer knows what is the highest risk and what is the risk that they're looking to insure, rather than could be anything from all good to you've got 3 days to live.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's often, one of the worst things to hear is, oh, I'm just going through the testing, don't have the answer yet, but want to get the cover now.
Yeah, it could be anything from genetic testing that probably comes back negative and you're doing it because you want to obviously the major end of it. So, yeah, pending medicals is never that great.
Never good, no. What do you got coming up this week?
This week we're planning for our associates to all be in the office next week. So
exciting.
Amy, our head of associates and interns, lives in Newcastle. So she's going to come down to Melbourne for 3 days next week, and we're going to do some things that aren't day-to-day work. So start preparing them for, seeing clients, speaking to clients, doing initial calls, and a heap of other things that, we need to go through.
Very good. I don't have a lot going on this week. I have 3 advice meetings tomorrow, which is going to be a bit of a change for me. I've had I average about 3 a week. So all of them are just on Tuesday for me this week. So that'll be good fun. See if I'm talking by Wednesday. And then in terms of content, we got a few things coming out per usual. We have Skye Simplifies, life insurance if you're self-employed. So good timing to get that paperwork set up.
I've got an hour this afternoon to get it all out and get it all linked up by the sounds of it.
Yeah. We got Deep Dive with Matt talking about claims. That'll be a good one to watch. Always nice to hear about the real life impact of the work that we're doing.
Yep. The one thing that no one wants to have but wants to make sure that your cover is paying out and how it pays out is something, very interesting.
Exactly. And we got insurance myths. Trent, you're a scientist.
Yeah, it's getting wackier and wackier as we go. There's a bit of a science kit here. All sorts of things going on with some myths and getting busted. So that was an interesting few days last week.
Yeah, I think I saw some Coke and some Mentos.
Yeah, that's a myth in itself. That whole science project's a myth. We couldn't get it to explode the way we wanted it to. So it was like half a metre of air, when you've seen things on YouTube where it's like 4 or 5 metres. So
strange.
Very disappointing. Unsure what we've done.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the science lab. We'll keep working on it.
Oh, good. And then there's a video coming out from the team in the Philippines rating the Anzac biscuits. So I'll be interested to see that one.
Yep, there's some interesting comments. It would be interesting to see what your feedback is after seeing it. See how you go with your next batch of Anzac bickies.
Yeah, hopefully there's something constructive in there.
Yep.
Because, just a straight number, there's not a lot I can do with that.
Yep, there's a bit of feedback, a bit of crunch. Having 30 odd people testing them out as well over 3 days.
How good.
You'll get some good feedback.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us today, Trent. Nice to have you stand in while Phil's on the slopes.
Yeah, it should be a nice day up on the slopes today. I wish I was there, but always happy to be here.
If you're watching, if you have any questions, comments, queries, things that we should discuss next time, just let us know in the comments. If not, see you next time.